Hello, everyone. You're welcome again to the Prepared Teacher series. I am Oluchi Chinedum-Azuh, the convener of the Prepared Teacher series. Welcome on board. Okay, so in this series, we began, exploring the seven non negotiable qualities of a prepared teacher. The seven non negotiable qualities of a prepared teacher. And it's so important, that we discuss this and we have named seven non-negotiable qualities. On top of all the seven is the first desire. And we've spoken at length about desire. It's only with desire that we can then attain the other six elements that make up the seven non-negotiable qualities of a prepared teacher. Desire is at the core, at the nucleus, because once there is desire, then pursuit is inevitable. You can't pursue what you are not desirous, of having or of getting. And a teacher who has a desire to see their students excel, that teacher is unstoppable. That teacher will do all that is within his power or her power to ensure true learning takes place in the classroom. Welcome again to the Prepared Teacher series. And so we're going to the number two element, and that's information. Information. Information is the number two element for a prepared teacher. A prepared teacher is an informed teacher. That teacher is knowledgeable. We had spoken a bit about information while we were introducing the seven elements, the seven qualities of, a prepared teacher, seven non-negotiable qualities of a prepared teacher. And the second was information. Information is so important. We looked at the Latin meaning for the word informed, to be informed. We said that to be informed means, to shape or to give form to. So when you're shaping a child and when you're giving form to that child because of, the information, the facts that you have been able to gather about something or someone, then you are shaping that child, right? You are putting that child into a form because you are injecting a mindset. And so it's very important what you're injecting into that child. You cannot be injecting wrong information. So a prepared teacher seeks to learn. Learning, I promise you, cannot be achieved without desire. If you do not desire to know, then you cannot gather the necessary facts about something or someone that would help you better tackle, a situation or an event in the future. Every teacher, every prepared teacher must be intentional about seeking to learn. It is in gathering this knowledge that a teacher is exposed to, you know, beautiful pedagogical approaches that allows, learning become engaging for the students. How can you encounter diverse pedagogical approaches without learning? You've got to be intentional about learning. And then learning is not just for knowledge, learning to teach the lesson, which is key. You've also got to learn the sorts of intelligences that are present within your space, your room, and how to access, you know, their their long-term memory such that no matter where they call on them, how they can retrieve information from memory because you have used um, beautiful vehicles, learning vehicles to transfer this information, into the minds of the children. it's amazing. Um, a common example I keep using is, when you want to teach the parts of speech, how are you going to, what vehicles, what learning approaches, what learning styles are you going to use to, transfer the information? And you can't actually know these pedagogical approaches if you do not seek to learn them, to know them. So that's knowledge that you need. And then there is a knowledge of the intelligences of the children within your classroom. It's very important. We can't overemphasize that. An uninformed teacher isn't a confident teacher. Meet an informed teacher and you see a confident teacher. They're just so confident, like I am now. You know, so you're confident to stand before the screen and share with the children and facilitate the class effectively. It is poor information that would allow a teacher come before the classroom only to dictate to the children rather than guide them to discovering, what they need to know. It's information. Information gives you the vocabulary. If you're not knowledgeable as a teacher, you won't have the vocabulary to guide your children and prompt them. And another very terrible side to information is relying on stale information. So with teachers, you are being a grade three teacher for 5 years, and the same lesson plan you used 5 years ago is still the same lesson plan you are adopting 5 years later. Same examples, same question. Please, I beg you, stop that. Desist from it. You are a prepared teacher. Every time you are going to teach that topic that you've always taught in the last 5 years, please go back and research. Go back and research. Go back and get new knowledge. Ask yourself, I introduced it this way. Is there any more beautiful way, more creative way, more fun way I could introduce this lesson? Are there any twists to the question patterns? How can I facilitate this class better? How can I cross-link this topic to other, subjects? It is by learning. Please seek to learn. And there are diverse ways of learning. Now you do not have to just sit down and read the words of a book, because some of you just, I don't know, you just can't, but you need to learn to do that. If you want to pass the right energy to your children, you need to learn to do that. But then there are other ways of learning. So you can fix, a book on audio, and while you are commuting from one place to another, you have that earpod, you're listening to that book being read to you. One, you can attend workshops and seminars, make that a point of duty to do so. You can listen to messages like mine that would encourage you. You see, in the Prepared Teachers series, we are committed to serving information that would help you in the classroom. I promise you, knowledge is the you can't compromise on knowledge. You just can't. And you can't rely on stale knowledge. Knowledge is ever increasing, it is refining every day, so it's ever refined. There are more beautiful approaches to that topic you call common, or that topic you call excessively difficult to transfer to your children. There are beautiful ways of doing that. There are lots of videos. And then we have courses, courses upon courses, free courses online. How many have you taken? take advantage of it. I know of Coursera, Allison, to mention but a few. I know that some of these, Ivy League universities have some free courses that they're giving out, to teachers, and I know well other professions to tap into that. Please take advantage of it as teachers. You might not, be able to have that money to go back to university, but I promise you there are a lot of courses that equip you. And if you have not added to your certification, I'm always asking, what other courses have you gone for? When was the last time you trained yourself? Who do you listen to? So you can say I listened to Mrs. Azu from the Prepared Teacher series. That's a plus, you know. Um, it is in your regular participation to learn that allows you grow in confidence when approaching your learners. Please open that book and read. Okay, on to the next, where information can be abused. So that's basically the next thing we're going to be talking about, where information can be abused. Pay attention, teachers. A prepared teacher understands the scope. So we have teachers who would read, who would learn, and then they read beyond the scope. So you are going to be teaching, for instance, facts about Abraham Lincoln to a grade 6 class, and then you're teaching that class, um, the biography of Abraham Lincoln, and then you're going all the way, just a lot of information that I would say is unnecessary for the child at that moment. You need to understand the scope of your reference material. And I know these days there isn't a topic, given to you in your scheme of work that doesn't have a reference material. Please meet your administrator, head teacher, VP academics, whatever is that title that you give to the leader in charge of curriculum, or the team in charge of curriculum at your school. Please, there should be a reference material. So you consider the scope of that reference material first, please. And then if you want to read, broadly, it's important to do that because children constantly inquire, and the dynamics of the inquiry skill abilities rather is limitless. So you've got to be prepared. So yes, while you would read vastly about that topic, you've got to understand the scope. You've got to understand the scope. There are key facts a child has to know so that when they confront an examination, they have those key facts in here. Your your creative vehicles, the pedagogical approaches that you're going to use will help you engage these children in activities that drives home the key objectives, the learning intentions for that topic. Please don't just go abroad. Don't be talking about how General Ulysses fought with General Frederick, and they sat down over, and discussed, and then it's not necessary. There is a scope. What is the scope? Now, for instance, in that scope, if they talked about, for instance, maybe Abraham Lincoln was born in the year 1809. you know Abraham Lincoln witnessed, the auction of slave trade in 1831. Now you see that, so probably you want to add to that. What you'll be adding is probably the other specificity on the dates. Maybe he was born February 21st, 1809. Do you get that? And then maybe, for instance, he made an Emancipation Proclamation, on slavery, right? So your scope would be, what was that Emancipation Proclamation line? What was it? If it was not in your textbook, you probably want to bring it out. So you are still within the scope. The key thing is he made an emancipation proclamation. You're getting the drift, right? He made an emancipation proclamation. The year he made the Emancipation Proclamation, they need to know. So, for instance, he made the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. Okay, how far into the Civil War were they when he made the Emancipation Proclamation? Okay, they were 3 years into a bloody civil war when Abraham Lincoln made the Emancipation Proclamation. And then what was it about? It was about the freedom of slaves in all compliant and non compliant states of the United States of America. So you need to live within the scope. So I have teachers who are informed, who are knowledgeable, but they go out of the scope. So you've got to control yourself. You've got to discipline yourself, and because of your desire, you've got to be in check because your desire will want to push you know everything. So that's where you have to control what it is that you know. And the beauty of it is there are certain activities that there's certain ways you can engage your children, and it will cause them to want to know more. And when they come to you, you are ready with the answer. You get that drift now. So yes, learn widely but work within the scope. So a prepared teacher has the desire to see their children succeed, and then they are informed, and being informed is being knowledgeable. And then if you're not careful, the downside to being knowledgeable, being an informed teacher, you are confident, it's like you want your children to know everything, and then you end up going out of line over syllabus. You don't need that. So you control yourself, you discipline yourself to look at the scope. What are the important facts these children need to know? If possible, get past questions. Get past questions. There are questions in that your reference book. That's one. Check questions online about, for instance, the Abraham Lincoln character. What did they ask? What did they ask the grade 5 and grade 6, students about Abraham Lincoln, for instance? So you then know the scope, right? Most of the questions, it does not border around, the nitty gritties of the war and who died and who suffered loss. No, 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 no. You need to know what the scope is. Probably when they get into the university and they go into history and international relations, they would probably need to delve in deeper. So the scope here is they get the point. What triggered the Civil War? What resolved the Civil War? Characters, involved in the Civil War. So those are the key things I probably want them to learn, about the war aspect during Abraham Lincoln's time. So I'm hoping that we are prepared teachers who seek to learn, who seek to know, who seeks knowledge, right? And then we are disciplined enough to contain our desire for our children to know everything and ensure they know what they need to know. It's important that they know what they need to know. So thank you so much for listening through, on this episode of the Prepared Teachers series where we're focusing on information. And being an informed teacher is being a knowledgeable teacher, and a knowledgeable teacher is a confident teacher, you know. And those are the sort of teachers, the caliber of teachers that we need in our classroom. So, yes, again, please, after listening, engage this content by liking the content, by commenting, by sharing the content, and by subscribing to my YouTube page. If you have colleagues, please let them listen in on this. I promise you, I have seen the misuse of information by a lot of teachers. Is either they are getting too little information or too much information, and both of them do not adequately shape the children, do not adequately form them, do not adequately give form, to our children the way we expect it to. So thank you again. Next episode will be a continuation of the seven non-negotiable qualities of a prepared teacher. We have looked at two. Click the next video to engage the third quality. Thank you and win today. Bye.